Man, I don't know about you guys, but every time we get this close to the NBA draft, I start feeling that mix of excitement and anxiety that only Sixers fans can understand. It feels like something important is building behind the scenes right now. The front office is moving, rumors are flying everywhere. There are real questions about what direction this franchise is about to take. And today, we've actually got two major stories that every Philadelphia 76ers fan needs to hear. The first one involves a brand new draft prospect who has suddenly been connected to Philadelphia just days before the draft. A name that wasn't being talked about much with the Sixers before but now could be entering the conversation in a big way. And the second story could have implications that go way beyond Philadelphia. The entire NBA trade market is starting to move. Blockbuster rumors are heating up across the league. Believe it or not, the Sixers are being mentioned in discussions that could impact the future of this franchise in ways fans won't like hearing. There's a lot happening right now. Some of these developments could tell us exactly where this organization is heading over the next few years. So stick around because we're breaking down both stories, what they mean for the Sixers, and why fans should be paying very close attention over the next few days. And before we jump in, if you're a real Sixers fan, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and join us here at 76ers Daily News. My name is Henry, and we're building this community from the ground up. The channel is still brand new, and our first goal is 1,000 subscribers. So if you truly live and breathe Sixers basketball and want to be part of this community from the very beginning, make sure you're subscribed. Now let's get into it. Alright, let's start with the first story because with the draft just around the corner, this is the type of report that immediately grabs the attention of Sixers fans. According to a recent mock draft from USA Today, Philadelphia is now being linked to Alabama guard LeBron Fillon Jr., a prospect who has suddenly entered the conversation just days before the 2026 NBA draft. And honestly, the more you look at his numbers, the more interesting this becomes. As all of you know, the Sixers currently hold the 22nd overall pick in the first round. That's the pick Philadelphia owns after the trade that sent Jared McCain to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Since then, we've heard several names connected to the organization, including Houston big man Chris Senak Jr. and Texas wing Dalen Swain, but now LeBron Fillon Jr. is generating serious buzz. USA Today's Brian Kalbrowski projected Philadelphia to select Fillon in his latest mock draft, and the reasoning is pretty easy to understand. Even while dealing with injuries during March Madness, Fillon still managed to show why so many scouts are intrigued by his offensive game. Against Michigan, he scored 35 points despite not being 100% healthy. Before that, he put up 29 points in Alabama's first-round game and added 12 assists in the second round. Think about that for a second. When the lights were brightest, he produced. And if we're talking about what the Sixers desperately need moving forward, shot creation and offensive skill are always valuable. For the season, Fillon averaged 22 points and 5 assists per game. He shot 50.1% from the field and nearly 40% from three-point range, finishing at 39.9%. What really stands out is his improvement as a shooter. As a freshman, he shot 31.5% from beyond the arc. By his sophomore season, he raised that number all the way to 39.9%. That's not a small improvement. That's the kind of development NBA front offices love to see because it suggests a player who is actively expanding his game. Now here's where things get interesting. A lot of fans might be wondering how a player with those offensive numbers could possibly still be available at pick number 22. Well, there are concerns. At the NBA Combine, according to draft expert Jonathan Givony, Fillon measured 6'2.5" barefoot, weighed 176 pounds, had a 6'6.25" wingspan, and an 8'3.5" standing reach. Those measurements aren't exactly ideal for an NBA guard. He's not physically imposing. He's not the type of prospect who immediately overwhelms opponents with size or strength. And defensively, those same concerns show up. There are moments where stronger players can bully him physically. There are situations where he struggles against bigger guards and wings. He's not viewed as a lockdown defender at this stage, however, that's not the full story. One thing scouts continue to praise is his lateral quickness. He moves well on the perimeter and can hold his own against ball handlers because of his foot speed. And let's be honest here, Sixers fans, We've seen smaller guards succeed in today's NBA. Just look at Jalen Brunson. The NBA Finals MVP isn't built like a giant either, yet he's become one of the best players in basketball because of skill, toughness, intelligence, and offensive creativity. Nobody is saying Philin is the next Brunson, but it shows that size alone doesn't determine success anymore. The bigger question is whether Philadelphia believes his offensive upside outweighs his physical limitations. And personally, if LeBron Philin somehow falls to number 22, I think Mike Gansey and Jameer Nelson will have a very difficult decision to make. Because when you find a young guard who can score, create for teammates, shoot efficiently, and continues improving every year, that's usually a player worth serious consideration. Now let's move to the second story because this one opens up a much bigger conversation around the entire NBA. The trade market is officially starting to wake up. Everybody has been focused on Giannis Antetokounmpo and what the Milwaukee Bucks are going to do, but while the basketball world waits for that situation to reach a conclusion, other teams have already started making moves. The first trade has happened. The Oklahoma City Thunder sent Aaron Wiggins to the Atlanta Hawks in exchange for draft compensation. On the surface, it may not look like a blockbuster, but league executives see it as the beginning of what could become a very active week. The move was largely about helping Oklahoma City clear salary and create roster flexibility. And now attention is shifting toward other Thunder players, especially Lu Dort. According to league chatter, teams around the NBA are monitoring Dort's situation closely. The Los Angeles Lakers are reportedly interested because they need perimeter defense. The Toronto Raptors have also been mentioned as a possible fit. Meanwhile, Oklahoma City is also exploring ways to manage a roster crunch that includes multiple first-round picks, including the 12th and 17th selections. And yes, Sixers fans should care about this, because every move made by contenders changes the landscape of the league. But that's not even the biggest headline. The Giannis Antetokounmpo situation appears to be reaching its final stages. Reports suggest the Milwaukee Bucks are essentially choosing between two primary paths. One involves the Miami Heat, the other involves the Boston Celtics. And if you're a Sixers fan, seeing Boston potentially land Giannis is probably enough to make your stomach turn. The Celtics have reportedly explored scenarios involving Jaylen Brown, and league executives believe there could be lasting consequences even if a Giannis deal never happens. One Eastern Conference executive even suggested Boston may have already gone so far down the road of discussing Brown that it could become difficult to simply move forward as if nothing happened. Imagine that, one of the biggest stars in basketball potentially moving to a direct Eastern Conference rival. That's something every Sixers fan should be paying attention to. The draft rumors around the league are heating up too. The Minnesota Timberwolves, who currently hold the 28th pick, reportedly worked out LeBron Philin and are looking at ways to move up. The New Orleans Pelicans are also looking for ways to get back into the first round despite not currently holding a first-round selection. The Pelicans continue receiving calls about Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, and Zion Williamson. Rival executives reportedly believe New Orleans is becoming more flexible than before regarding potential trade discussions. The Los Angeles Clippers at pick number 5 and the Brooklyn Nets at pick number 6 continue to be viewed as key spots for teams hoping to move up in the draft. The Atlanta Hawks at number 8 and Dallas Mavericks at number 9 are also drawing attention from teams exploring trades. Meanwhile, Oklahoma City continues exploring ways to package picks 12 and 17 to potentially move into the top 10 or push one of those selections into future draft assets. The Washington Wizards remain another team to watch. They hold the number 1 overall pick and continue evaluating what to do with Anthony Davis. Reports indicate Washington's plan is still to keep Davis, allow him to rebuild value by playing early in the season, and then revisit trade discussions later. However, rival executives believe the Wizards could move him sooner if the right first-round pick becomes available. And then there was one section of this report that really caught my attention. Joel Embiid's name appeared on a league-wide trade value board discussing difficult contracts around the NBA. To be clear, there is no report saying Philadelphia is actively shopping Embiid. Let me repeat that. There is no indication that the Sixers are trying to trade Joel Embiid. But league observers pointed out the obvious concerns surrounding his contract. Embiid still has roughly 3 years and $187 million remaining on his deal. Because of his injuries and uncertainty about long-term availability, the report suggested there is little appetite around the league for taking on that contract. As a Sixers fan, that's tough to hear. Because we all know what Joel Embiid means to this franchise. We've watched him carry this team. We've watched him win an MVP. We've watched him play through pain. We've watched him become the face of Philadelphia basketball. But we've also watched the injuries pile up year after year. And whether fans like it or not, rival executives are evaluating that reality. The important thing here is that nothing indicates Philadelphia is planning to move on from Embiid right now. The report simply reflects how other teams currently view massive contracts attached to players with injury concerns. Still, it's another reminder of just how important this upcoming season is. For Embiid, for the front office, for the future of the franchise. And honestly, that's why these two stories connect more than people realize. On one side, the Sixers are searching for young talent through the draft. They're evaluating prospects like LeBron Philin Jr., Chris Senak Jr., and Dalen Swain as they look toward the future. On the other side, the rest of the NBA is aggressively reshaping itself through trades, superstar movement, and roster changes. Philadelphia is caught right in the middle. The organization needs to compete now while also preparing for what's next. And that's not an easy balancing act. As fans, we all want immediate results. We want playoff success. We want a championship contender. But we also know this franchise has to make smart decisions that protect the future. That's why the next few days could be so important. The draft is almost here. Trade season is heating up. The Eastern Conference could look completely different very soon. And the Sixers have some major decisions ahead. For me, the biggest takeaway is simple. The front office cannot afford mistakes, not anymore. Whether it's selecting the right prospect at number 22, managing Joel Embiid's window, building around the current core, or reacting to massive moves happening around the league, every decision matters. And as frustrating as the last few years have been, I still believe this team has a chance to surprise people if the right moves are made. Now I want to hear from you. Would you draft LeBron Philin Jr. if he's still available at number 22? Do you think Philadelphia should prioritize immediate help or long-term upside? And what's your reaction to seeing Joel Embiid's contract mentioned in league trade discussions? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I know Sixers fans are going to have strong opinions on this one. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you truly believe in the future of the Philadelphia 76ers, help us reach our first goal of 1,000 subscribers here on 76ers Daily News. This channel is still brand new, and every single subscriber joining right now becomes part of this community from the very beginning. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. And as always, let's hope the next few days bring some good news for Philadelphia. See you in the next one.